Hi everyone, welcome to today's mini class. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the regular sewing machine, not embroidery, not serging. We're going to talk about how to take care for your regular sewing machine. So because if you want to sew a long time, you have to do a little bit of maintenance on it. Not a whole lot. Today's machines are very easy to care for and they don't break as easily as the older ones did. So we're going to be talking about two basic machines. This is my, what is it? It's the Allure, and it's a drop-in bobbin, so that's one kind of machine. And then the other one we're going to talk about is it's actually the Quilter's Professional, but it's the same thing as the Jane. Same as the Juki 98 and the Juki 2010 and a lot of the basic, what they call the semi-professional machines, because they do need different kind of care. Okay, so let's start with just basic care and feeding of both models. You don't want to use detergents on them, so no Windex, no. Actually, what I do if they get a little bit of gummy with or discolored here on the bed because of the fabric dye getting on there, I will clean it with ordinary rubbing alcohol and a little bit of cotton. So just this stuff, regular isopropyl. Actually, if they say if you mix this stuff with aloe vera, it's hand sanitizer. Okay, so you just want to wipe it down. You want to clean it. You don't want to use Windex. You don't want to use any harsh cleaners, no bleach, that kind of thing on here. No Goo Gone, any harsh chemicals. If your machine gets scratched over time, what you can do is take Pledge, just furniture polish, and put it on a soft cloth and buff the top and face of your machine so that it'll sort of help make it a little smoother, especially if you're into machine quilting. Okay, let's see. That's about it for the maintenance. If you want to clean your screen, you want to use one of those microfiber cloths like the ones that they give you at the optometrist to clean your glasses. That's the kind of cloth you want to use. So, let's see. When you are plugging in your machine, you want to make sure that you plug the cord, this black thing, into the machine first, then plug it into the wall. Why? Because there's little tiny microchips. There's microcircuitry in here. Some of them even like my Destiny's virtually a computer. So you want to make sure that you use a power strip, not a power strip, a surge protector with it. So that will help protect your machine from any power surges, especially during storms. Is when you're cleaning your machine, you want to turn off your machine and maybe unplug it. Why? Because especially if little critters in your hand around the house, or kids, or just my own klutzy feet, that if you are messing with the foot underneath here, then you don't want the cat to be walking across the foot pedal and impale your fingers. That hurts. Ask me how I know. So these machines don't require a lot of maintenance, yet they do need cleaning out. First of all, let's start with the Jane. Okay, because it has a traditional bobbin. What you want to do is you want to refer to your owner's manual to see whether you oil your machine or you don't. Most machines these days you do not oil, but if you do, like this is one of the few models that you do oil, and here's where you're going to oil. Always refer to your manual. If your manual doesn't say anything about oiling your machine, don't do it. Okay, there are little ports here. There's little holes here. There's some up here. There's one here, here, and one here. And those are oiling ports. So you would just put a drop of oil. And speaking of oil, always use clear oil. Sewing machine oil should always be clear. It should never be amber colored or cloudy. If it is, that oil is beginning to go bad. And so you would just, I like this one. I got this at a quilt show, and I think we even had some at the store. But these are nice, and because they deliver a teeny tiny drop. So to oil the race and to clean it. This opens up and this opens. So there's light so you can see. It's pretty dirty. I've been using it all day. How often do you want to clean up your machine? It actually depends on how much you use it. When it looks linty, clean it. If you start getting skipped stitches or you start seeing brown specks or gray specks on your especially bobbin thread, clean it. If you want to clean it, I'll just take a little brush and work. What comes with your machine is this pathetic little brush. Yeah, no, this is not really good for anything. This is good for sweeping out thread out from under the needle, but otherwise it's like useless. What I like to use is an old paintbrush or a blush brush, something that's easy to clean. Okay. And then I'm going to remove the bobbin. Let's see if I can't get it with my, there we go. I will remove the bobbin case and see, it's pretty dirty in there, although I did clean it at least once today, but you'll see I'll get more stuff out of here. Clean it really good. Then this is one where you would want to oil, and if you have a tiara or a Sweet 16 or something like that, you want to oil. If you can see the the comments are in the way. If you can see this little ridge right here, that's where you want a drop of oil. And I usually put a drop of oil and let the sound of your machine be your guide. Start to sound noisy, put a drop of oil there. Here's where you're going to oil most often. The frequency, I use this machine every day, so I oil this thing about once a month. I'm literally using it 8 to 10 hours a day, and I am now oiling it every day with that kind, because I am going high speed and a lot. There's a neat little thread cutter. I never noticed that before. I don't use it. Okay, now, if you every once in a while when you have this out, and you might want to take the foot out, and I'm going to take the foot out here, and I'm going to just unscrew this. Take that foot out. Okay, then every once in a while you want to take a brush and go side to side, and you can take the needle out too, but I'm not going to, and brush side to side. That clears out the lint in the feed dogs and makes it run smoother. Then, if you, every once in a while, and usually I'll do this about once a quarter, I will undo this right here. And you'll see all kinds of dirt that's in here. You'll be surprised, because I just did this the other day. Like Friday. Okay, when it won't come open, like that one won't, I recommend you have one of these. It's called an offset screwdriver, and you can get them at the hardware store or even Walmart. It's in those, usually the dollar set tools, you know, when they have the bargain tools, because you can really put some pressure on it and get this out. And there we go. There, because I got too strong with it the other day. And then I'm going to take the rest of this out. And look how dirty it is just after 2 days. That is just gross. Look at how dirty that is. I'll raise this up so you can see it better. Yucky. Justin, you'll not be proud of me. And then I will clean all this mess out. Do not use canned air. You are just putting more condensation. Lily's in here. Look at all that dirt coming out. That's a lot of dirt. Sometimes I might take a vacuum cleaner and really clean this out really well. Okay, and yeah, see, that was I just did this Saturday, and look how dirty it is already. So it doesn't take long, especially when you're I was dealing with a lot of cotton. And that little tinkling is Lily. She's in search of a bobbin. I dropped one on the floor, so she keeps looking for it. Okay, while you have this off, every once in a while you want to check that little hole to make sure that there's no like bad places that it'll snag the thread. If you're not sure, take a Q-tip and just rub it along the edge. If it pulls the threads out of the Q-tip, then you know that you've got a burr in there that needs to be either filed or off, or this might need to be replaced. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. And it just, I'm not sure where the scissor is in this thing. But if you're having trouble cutting, I might have to look at the book because I've never cleaned out the scissor. Justin just serviced it, so I think he already replaced the scissor on it because it wasn't cutting very well. And you're hearing that it's ripping. And then I'll put these screws back. Now this one you do not remove the bobbin case. This one you're going to leave that bobbin case alone. Now, like I said, I will oil this every once in a while according to the book. Okay, there we go. But that doesn't mean that I don't get it serviced. You still have to get it serviced whether you oil it or not, because there's parts in here I can't get to. And it should be, we recommend that they be brought in for service by Justin at least once a year. But don't ever let any machine go more than 2 years without having them serviced properly. Because what happens, actually the longer you don't use your machine, it's like say, oh, I never use my machine, hardly ever, and therefore it should still be good. No, What will happen is the oil is going to break down whether you use the machine. And if the less you use the machine, the faster that oil is going to break down, and it gets sticky and it gets gummy and it attracts lint and it causes more problems. Just like you wouldn't let a car go more than 2 years without an oil change. You don't let your machine go more than 2 years without an oil change. And usually when Justin services, he uses a solvent to get rid of the old oil, and he re-oils everything, and everything is nice and smooth. So, and now that's ready to go. Now this particular machine uses class L bobbins. They are metal and they're thin. These are the bobbins for our embroidery machines, or the newer machines. They're thicker. And if I hold them side by side, you'll see one is thicker than the other. These are also metal. Can I use a plastic L-class bobbin in here? Sure you can. It's not going to last as long because it's plastic, and this is mostly a metal machine, so they wear a little more. But one thing, be careful if you drop these bobbins. You don't want to bend them because that can cause a yucky stitch. So sometimes you just have to break down and buy new bobbins. And of course this goes in this way. You want to clean out the bobbin case too. This is the bobbin case. Inside of here sometimes you'll find lint. Or I'll just use a regular, well, this one I will use that crappy brush. So you want to brush this out inside. And how you want to clean this bobbin case is because sometimes if you have almost no tension with your machine, like wherever you see a problem, if your bobbin thread isn't tight enough, it's going to loop up to the top, and so you'll see the loops on the top of the fabric. So wherever you see the problem, the opposite side is usually what's causing it. So if you end up with nesting underneath, there's no tension in the needle side. If it's pulling up to the top, that means there's hardly any tension here, and it could be because something needs to be cleaned out. So you can actually take a business card. So anyway, there is a spring right here. That's where the tension spring is. Just take a business card. And I just cleaned it out so I didn't get anything out on it. But usually you'll see a little piece of lint come flying out of there. That means that's holding the spring open and not giving you proper tension. So anyway, I'm going to drop that in. This kind of bobbin, you'll put it in that little notch. First of all, you want the spool from the top to the right. Drop it in, go into that little hook, that little slot underneath the spring, and then this just pops in there, and it goes click, and it's ready to sew. And this is the one where you have to bring the thread up to the top. Let's see, again, when you're changing to lock it, there we go. Right here, that needle is right up against that ball. If this is dropped down, you'll get skip stitches. So, again, that's about all there is to this machine. This is a very simple to take care of machine. It's high speed, that's why I love this thing. Okay, now on to what 99% of the rest of them. Okay, this is my Allure, but you could do, this would be set up on all the most of the machines, except for the Luminaire and the Solaris are even easier. Let me go up higher so we can zoom in on here. Okay, now this one's got a 2-part throat plate. I'm going to turn that off. And how this one can be cleaned is really easy. You do the same thing. You take the foot off. And this one also has not been cleaned in a very long time. That's hard to see. I'm going to turn it on just for the light. You shouldn't be cleaning it with the light on, but you need to be able to see what we're doing. Does that help? So anyway, again, here's your feed dogs there. Open the door. No, I'm not giving you a bobbin. I know you heard it. Okay, this comes off, so you would just open the tray, pull this forward, and lift it out of the way. This comes up, and you take it out. And, oh, this has got a ding on it. Look. A little hole. Although I think that one can be brushed out. You want to check while you have this out to see if this plastic bobbin case is smooth. It should be smooth here. It should be smooth here. This is a little hole here, but that can be brushed out. No big deal. And then you also want to check the back ring. You want to make sure there's no needle strike holes here, because this will sit on the flywheel right there on the hook and then spin around. And so it has to sit flat. So anyway, it's dirty. I don't even remember when this was cleaned. I'll probably change the needle. You should be changing these needles after about 8 hours of stitching, or if you get skip stitches or fraying thread or something like that. Sometimes when your machine isn't working right, just change the needle, because it can be bent just a teeny bit and you won't even notice it, but this machine will notice it and it won't stitch. So that way, if you change your needle and it fixes it, whoopee, it's problem solved. So yes, again, whoa, that is dirty, dirty, dirty. Yeah, look at that. And I don't use this one very often. Okay. Now, if I have to take this off, okay, let me get this piece, and I'm going to take this off, and it's going to yell because it doesn't like it off. And always put these inside of something, these screws, because they will be lost, never to be seen again. Luckily, we have some at the store. Okay. Again, you're going to inspect this as well. Where is it? There it is. You want to inspect this as well. This little divot right here is supposed to be there. That's a channel for left needle position, and that's fine. It's supposed to be there. It is not supposed to have a whole bunch of nicks here. Again, this is another piece that I usually will replace routinely because it gets some needle strikes, and I feel where I brushed one out, but I don't know how long it's going to last. So anyway, now places that you want to clean and check. Oh, yucky. There's some more yuckies back here. You're up under there. Clean it really good. Yep, see, got them. Blech. Okay, one place to check is right here. This is where your scissor is. And I can see that there's a little piece of lint sticking out of it. Let me get a pair of tweezers to get that out. Sometimes when you feel that when you're trying to cut, you feel it ripping. And here is a piece of thread caught in the scissor. See? That's enough to make it rip rather than cut. Oh, there's more. This one hasn't. Now, there is a fuzzy thing in there. Don't take that fuzzy thing out. It's supposed to be there. That's not a lint. But there's the scissors, so you want to check that. Now, when you're sewing, and especially, well, any foot that you have, when you're cleaning it, every once in a while, take a look at the back of the foot. The back of the foot should be flat. It should be clean. It shouldn't have any bronze-colored gouge marks. Also, what you want to, and it's if you're a quilter, because we start usually without the fabric onto the feed dogs, so you can have scratches here. It's normal to have scratches. It is not normal to have gouges, and it is not normal to see scratches on one side and nothing on the other. When you see something like that, that means that foot is not sitting squarely on these feed dogs. Now, if that's happening, and you'll feel it, you'll feel your fabric want to veer off to one side and go in a direction you don't want it to go. Can't keep it straight. It could be that there's thread caught underneath of these feed dog screws. So if you're having that problem, check to see if you've got thread hanging out there. That could affect how it sews your seams. Now, when you put this back together, you have to put it together in reverse order the way you took it apart. Because right now it's easy. Oh, look how easy it is to put this thing in. And if anyone had the old Adagio, this was not easy to put in. But if you put this in and then screw this top back on, I can guarantee you this machine will not stitch. It'll jam even worse than it did in the first place. And it'll keep jamming. So this does not go back. So if you've taken it apart to this point, you're going to put this back first. Plate goes back first. Okay. And yeah, it looks like it doesn't fit. Once you get it screwed in there, it will be fine. Okay, and the other one. Okay, and then I'll tighten it. We have these little kits. These are handy to have too. They're rubberized. It comes in a kit with this, like this, and actually that fits this screw really easy. So when they first came in, we kept saying, these are broken. We kept trying to take this off, and we set them back once, and they go, that's supposed to be like that. It doesn't come apart. We thought they were defective. Okay. Now, once this is in, now you put your bobbin case back, and see that little triangle? And there's a little corresponding dot so right next to it. So I'm going to put the furry part in the back, match up those dots right there, and now it should have a little play. That's good. If you turn the hand wheel towards you, you will see it move, but it's not doing this, not precessing all over the place. Okay, and then finally this snaps. Open the door and this snaps back in place, and now you're ready to go. And to insert your bobbin, you will open up the little thing here, a bobbin cover. You're going to, today's sewing is brought to you by the letter P, Sesame Street. You know, that makes like a P, and it drops right in. If it makes a Q, quit it. It's backwards. Then this just goes in here and around here. Okay. This just snaps in, and I will put my foot back in. Just snaps into place. Anybody want to know what this is for if you have no idea what that's for? This is a leveling pin. This is a great thing if you are working with denims, and say you're doing the hemming the pants on a pair of jeans, and when it goes over the seam, what happens when it comes down off the seam? It's sewing like this, and then it goes conk, and then or it tilts forward towards you, breaks the needle every time. So what this is, when you reach the top thickest part of the jean, let's see, do I have anything that can pretend it's a thick piece of fabric? That might work. No. See, like it would do this or come down like that. So what this does is when it's at the top, you would hold this. There we go. You put in that pin. Let's see if I can get it to lower on there. And then there. And it locks it into place. And then when you sew off, it pops out. That's all that's for. I also go kind of slow. So, okay. Let's talk about threading this machine, or most machines, and winding a bobbin, because those are sort of things you need to do whenever when you're getting ready to sew. Now, these machines take usually this class 15 bobbin. Now, remember that the L class bobbin was metal? If you have a top-loading bobbin, no matter what brand it is, never put a metal bobbin in there. Why? You know that where it turned on the hook? That is turned by a magnet. You put in a metal bobbin, you are now seizing it up, and you can end up stripping the gear. Justin has seen that happen a couple of times, so don't do that. So use a plastic bobbin. Also, check your bobbins and don't overwind them, because this is plastic, it'll break. You want to use, ideally you should be using the bluish kind of bobbins that come with the machine. They're made a little bit thicker. A lot of people say, hey, can I use the bobbins, empty bobbins from the, when you buy the pre-wound bobbins? Well, that's a thinner plastic. It's a cheaper plastic. It's not going to last. I have used them in an emergency. However, if you're going to use them, you keep a good eye on them. If it starts to no longer be, if it's cloudy-ish, that bobbin's about to break. And if it breaks in your machine, that is a big problem. So you don't want it to break in the machine. Only use it if you literally have no bobbins in the house and it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, So anyway, like I said, use the class 15 bobbin. Now to wind this bobbin, on the top of the machine, or somewhere on the machine, you will see straight lines and dotted lines. To thread your needle, you will follow the numbers and the solid lines. To wind the bobbin, you will follow the dotted lines. So, let's see if I can get this to go smaller. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, here we go. Alrighty, so I just simply put the bobbin into this spot right here. Put it down. Okay, and I have put in the spool cap, and you want the spool cap always to be just a tiny bit bigger or the same size as your spool. So they come in like 3 different sizes. This is the medium one. So anyway, this says 1, so 1 goes here, and then 2 is up and around. Then I've got 2 2s. The solid says go this way, so that's for the solid says go this way. That's for the needle. And it's showing 2 go that way. Okay, so we're going to go this way instead. And then 3, it says here that we just wind it around the bobbin. I'll do it like 4 or 5 times. Oops, wait a minute. I forgot something. I didn't follow the directions here. It's here. Okay, then it's going to go, and then I don't know if you can't really see the picture, but there's a picture here that says that you go behind this metal piece and around that tension disc. See this tension disc? And then you go around about 4 or 5 times, and then there's a cutter. So I'll just put it in the cutter and then push it towards this little wheel. And then you wind a bobbin. So we just, if you have the pedal on, you hit the pedal. If I don't have the pedal, notice the see how that turned yellow? It's ready for the bobbin, so I'm hitting that. Now the Destiny, and then it's telling me, hey, I'm winding a bobbin. Now on this model, I'm going to slow that down. Don't wind your bobbins at high speed. You're putting too much pressure on them, makes the thread stretch. So don't do that. It's going to mess it. So go, I think a moderate speed is your best. And it will stop when it's done. I'll let it finish. I do need a bobbin. I'm making a lot of masks. I need lots of bobbins. And it will stop. Come on. All right, we'll go faster. Okay, see how it stopped spinning? Okay, I hit the button. Some of them stop automatically. It depends on the model that you have. Then I take this out, pull it towards you, or towards the left, and then I can use the cutter here. And now I have a nice bobbin. This is a good bobbin because notice it's spun pretty evenly. If it's like shaped like that where it's thicker on one side, this little bar right here can be adjusted up and down. So if it's not winding correctly, tell Justin, he'll get it to work right. Also, it should be firm, not spongy. If it's spongy, it's not going to give you a good tension. That means you probably missed this little tension disc here. And now it's ready. This is ready. This is a good bobbin. Very good bobbin. And it's ready to go. Now to change it to the needle, take that over here. Now I'm going to follow the dotted lines, or the solid line. So 1, 2, I'm already there. 3. Now start with your presser foot up. Not down, but up. Then it goes. So we go down, up to 4, around. Now, and then I'm going to go under this pickup lever right here. Then you can see right here there is a notch, goes across the notch, and then there's a little camshell right here. And then I cut it, lower the presser foot, and on this one, sometimes they have a button. This one's got a lever, and it threaded it. I pull the loop through. Don't pull the thread back on the front. You want to pull it through. And it's ready to go. It's ready to sew. So let's see. I think that's it for threading the machine. Let's talk about what these buttons do. This is the this right here is your speed governor. If you have it to the left, no matter how hard you hit the pedal, here, I'm going to take thread out of that needle. No matter how hard you hit the pedal, it'll only go really annoyingly slow. Okay, and then as you go, this is like the turtle and the rabbit on the I think it's Genomi's. And see now, and there's the speed, high speed. Yeah, it knows. This one tells you when it doesn't have any thread. This is your scissor, and it's going to cut your threads. This is your pulse needle, up or down. So if the needle is down, it'll go up. If it's down, if it's up, it'll go down. That's your reverse. So if you hit it, it will go a few if you just hold it, it'll keep going backwards. One will just go back one whole stitch. The one on the newer machines that have a round dot, that is a whole stitch or a completion of a decorative stitch. Either one. And of course, this one is your start and stop button. This one, how you have to wind this bobbin. And I like this one because it's got a thread tree. In fact, I need to do another white bobbin. So this one, you start out. Yes, right there. I'm going to start out right here, that there's a hole in the bobbin, so you put it through here. I'm going to run it up underneath of this case right there. There is a tension dial right there, and then push that. And I can't get to the pedal. Let me see if I can't reach that pedal. This one you have to do with the pedal. And there's no speed governor on this machine. This is a very basic machine. It's my favorite though. And I just hold it till it breaks. I'm not going to finish it. You get the idea. Okay, so to thread this machine, let me go back over here. Okay, this one is what I usually do for this machine. Is I hate to thread this machine, I really do. So I treat it like a serger, and I tie a knot. I'm lazy, I know. I tie a knot, pull it through the needle, and pull it through, all done. I like that. Okay, but if you have to thread it, what you do, okay, took it out, is it first goes into here, and this can move, and you go down, loop it, down into it again. It adds just a tiny bit of tension to it. Not a whole lot, just enough that if you don't do it, it doesn't give you good tensions. Okay, so it's wrapped around that. Then I put it into this clip, around the tension dial, over the hook, under the hook, in there. And then this one doesn't have a slot, so you got to thread that. And I usually put it back into the hook, so it's in there 3 times in there. And there, which is a thread guide here, and then you lower the presser foot. And this has a mechanical threader, so you just, there's a little notch there, so you catch it, come around, swing it around, go in the tines, and then pull your loop through. I know it's easy, but I'm lazy. I don't like to thread machines and needles. So anyway, that's all I have for you. This one's got real simple controls. It's just feed dogs up, down, a pin feed, and a little bit of feed, a little bit up. I've never used these two in the middle. It's either up or down. I have a scissor, and then I have a needle up, needle down, and there's my stitch length, and that's all there is to that. And then my reverse. That's all there is to this machine. It's super simple, but it's also very high speed. Watch this. I'll take the... That thing moves. Huh? It's awesome. I love it. Okay, so anyway, I'll see you guys Thursday night, and until then, keep healthy, keep happy, keep on sewing. Love you guys, and I miss you. Bye.